Thank you, Brother Arnold, and happy Labor Day to everyone. Pathway to unity is the theme for this Labor Day. In unity lies our greatest strength. However, today is Labor Day. And interesting how businesses are choosing to open on Labor Day. Just this weekend we heard that the marketplace stores want to open on Labor Day. It is time for unorganized labor to also pay attention that this is a Labor Day holiday. And what you should be saying to your employer, I'm not coming to work on Labor Day. Let him fire all of you. If he wants the store to open on Labor Day, let the management team work. But as a worker, you should have a right to come here and be able to enjoy Labor Day. Now, just briefly, and I think all the other presidents already touched on just about all the other issues, so I'm not going to be repetitious. I will try not to be. But the Minister of Transport, the Honorable Michael Fay, and I learned this because I was with him and I came back, I heard that he's saying he don't want to go on the TCD. And I'm saying, like, that office has been good enough for all the previous ministers to go down there and operate out of that office. What makes him so special? Really? I heard Leroy say 200,000, but I heard it was 300,000. So anyway, well, we can talk about the number, but why should the government be spending $200,000 or $300,000 on a fixed office for Michael Fay when the workers in this country, the government workers, haven't had a wage increase since 2011? That's the BIU members. The BPSU is 2010. So we got government workers who haven't had a wage increase for 5 or 6 years, and we have a minister saying, well, that office is not good enough for me. Really? The Premier and his cabinet colleagues should have told Minister Fay, you either work down there or you're no longer a minister. That's what should have happened. On Friday evening at the Labor Day banquet, I spoke on this whole thing of a living wage and the effect that it's going to have on us as a people. And you know what happens when you say those kind of things, you kind of like step on people's toes. And of course, they don't like you in the first place. So of course, yesterday evening I said, my sister went 65 on Thursday and we was at a low celebration for her yesterday evening. And here's what she's telling me. She's going up on the blogs and these people are saying all these nasty things about her. That's to be expected. And I gave them a couple of examples. One example was that Bill Clinton was President of the United States from 1992 to 2000. And what I found interesting is that no matter how much good he done as President of the United States, there's a lot of people still didn't like him. And his approval rating probably got as high as maybe 71%, might have been 72. So just to know, it was that 28% of people that said, you can do whatever you like, I'm still not going to agree with what you're saying. So the example is that I said what I said on Friday evening, and I stand by what I said. Because there's facts and figures are facts and figures. You can try to twist them any way you like, but they're going to come back to be a fact. The mere fact that we're having this conversation, and as I said this to the Minister Fay, before they moved him from immigration and moved him to transport, we were having a conversation at the Labor Advisory Council about a living wage. And I said this to the minister in front of the rest of the LAC members, which is made up of employers and unions, that understand that a living wage is not just having a conversation about a living wage, but here's what's going to happen when you open up the Pandora's box. We're going to start to have a conversation about wage disparity. Because that's real. There's no way you can have one conversation without having the other. They go hand in hand together. You can't separate them. You might try, but you won't be able to. And I think this is why when you hear the bloggers say, well, here he goes again. No. What's right is right. What's just is just, and what's fair is fair. And there is no one in Bermuda, or even the world, who can convince me that what's been happening to the people of Bermuda for the past 30 plus years is right. The wage disparity between blacks, whites, and I said between most whites and others, has grown to unacceptable proportions in the last 30 plus years. Unacceptable. As I said on Friday, and I'll repeat it for some of you who weren't there, or some of you may not have heard it. The wage disparity between a black female and a white female in 1974 was $625. $625, less than $1,000. But yet, up until 2013, which is 3 years ago, just 3 years ago. The wage disparity right now is $75,000. These are not my numbers. These numbers are in those reports that I spoke about the other night. The 1993, 2004, and 2013 report. That information is taken right from out of them. So we're not making up anything. We need to have a hard conversation about how we're going to move this whole thing about a living wage or wage disparity forward in the right direction. But I want to also remind you, because I think some people have forgotten, the People's Campaign Manifesto in 2014 also spoke about a living wage. So I don't want anybody out there to try and take credit for what they're doing or what they're not doing or whatever. The People's Campaign on the Equality, Jobs and Justice mentioned the whole question, not about a minimum wage, we talked about a livable wage. Ain't no point to you saying they're going to pay me $12 an hour and I still can't live properly. So it has to be about a living wage. And if you know what's happening all around the world, they're having conversations in Canada, they're having conversations in UK about making sure people can have a living wage. That you can basically, you know, be above the poverty level and not be able to talk about you're begging for this or you're begging for that. And to be honest, my final point that I'm going to finish on, and this one probably some of you may have heard about it, you may not have heard about it, but it's time for us to let the people of the country know exactly what's taking place. We talk about, and Brother Jason just mentioned a moment ago, about, you know, number of millions are still getting jobs over millions, something that, you know, we continue to say, and it's very alarming. And I think you heard Brother Shannon make the point. But interesting is that you know that there are people who have to have their work permits renewed every so often. And you know, you could have a year work permit or you could have a 3-year work permit. Well, this is a warning, and I'm saying it, it's a warning to the government of Bermuda. And I'm saying it respectfully. Because don't play with this game. Don't play with us. Right? There's an individual who is very dear to us. Very dear to us. Okay? His work permit expired on July 17th. July 17th. We are now getting ready to go in another couple of weeks. We'll be at September the 17th. So we're gone. August 17th. We're up September. So it's been like maybe 7 weeks now. The government is not supposed to be interfering with work permits. But when you hear a minister has taken a file from the Chief Immigration Officer, that should be concerning to everyone. Everyone. So if the government wants to get something wrong, let it continue to play games with this one. And the house of cards will come tumbling down. We will do everything in our power to make sure that this will not happen. Make no mistake about it. This is a very serious matter. Now, I don't think I should have to tell you the name that I'm talking about. I'm going to leave that. You want to come and ask me to decide? I'll tell you, but I'm not going to tell you in front of me, the camera. But I think the government knows exactly what I'm talking about. And 2017 is supposed to be an election. Sometime between September and December next year. You will not see election before that. That's my prediction. The election won't be called till after the America's Cup. After they can say or boast that we have a successful America's Cup, this is getting better, there's shovels in the ground for a hotel or two and they're creating some jobs. Then they'll do what they've been doing to us for a lot of years when the UBP was involved. When there was no mortgage money around. And all of a sudden, when election year came around, all this mortgage money fell out of the sky. And we fell for that trick. And every year we put them back in power. I can tell the LBA, that's not going to happen. You can try it, won't happen. And here's why. You promised 2,000 jobs when you were running on your election platform campaign. Well, since then we've lost 2,000. So now you lost 4. So unless you put every one of them 4,000 jobs back between now and next year, you're going to have a real issue. Big issue. Big. So much so that if you looked at the World Gazette a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Charles Jefferson, he made the point about making promises and making empty promises. And he told the ABA government in that article that that promise is going to come back to haunt you. He made it clear, and we're not going to let them forget that. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, please enjoy the rest of your Labor Day. I think that, as Brother Jason said, A pathway to unity means that we're talking about a pathway to unity. And if we're truly not going to be about that, as a people, we're going to continue to fall short. It's time for us to stand united as one and make sure that we are truly going to be our brother and our sister's keeper. Thank you very much. Happy Labor Day.